Welcome to Telecuento News English, in this space with flavor, accents, and integration. And today we have somebody here that is making his point of view this week very vocal, and we invite him. It's Frank Ramirez. He is the former chief of staff of the Kansas City, Kansas city, and we need to talk to about something that is very controversial, the chief. This move of the chief, but specifically about, let me be here for a second, about these start bonds and what is happening in Kansas City, Kansas. Frank, thank you for being with us and for giving the opportunity to listen your point of view of what is going on in Kansas.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on. For those that don't know, one of the reasons I left the mayor's office was because I could not, in good faith, advocate for the Chiefs deal. What we have in impoverished communities in America is we have big developers. They come in and they ask for all these massive incentives. And what it does is it actually takes away the revenue that is needed by the city to serve those underserved communities for infrastructure and public safety. And so in this particular case, I've been very vocal because we have a serious problem here. And the problem that we have here is that, the Chiefs have made the decision to come, and state officials have, with extreme overreach, have made decisions on behalf of one of the poorest communities in the entire county, or in the entire state of Kansas, in terms of, average income per household. And essentially, they've come in, they've made decisions. They're doing the Star Bond District, which essentially that means that the local government pledges their sales tax, for the next 25 to 30 years for the project. And what that does is it prevents any revenue from coming from the project directly into the county. And so when that happens, there's no money to support the serviceable infrastructure as well as the public safety needs of the community.
What with that, I want to put something in perspective, because you say the state official take decisions without the city.
That's right.
And honest, I believe was probably 1 week, 2 weeks after your group, if you want to call it in the way of the new mayor, took her position, all this blew up and everybody knew what was happening. So the question is, did never have a discussion before? Did you guys in the campaign never was called and tell, hey guys, this is what is going on?
No, and that's actually what frustrated me, because if you looked on Fox 4, Representative Sean Tarwater said that the mayor knew far in advance. I recently posted a video on my Facebook basically calling him out and saying that that's a bold-faced lie, because it was literally a week before the mayor took office that we actually were invited to Topeka to have that discussion. And so the problem there is, when I say a week before, she took office on the 15th, the announcement was on the 22nd. That means that it was literally, between 15 to 20 days between that meeting and the time that it was announced. So there was literally, no opportunity for data gathering, no opportunity for anything, so that that way the local government officials could make a good, effective decision for the residents of Wyandotte County.
As a former chair of staff, you usually have more access to what is going on. But my question right now is, so technically, how do you feel? You left this path because what you say, I am unable to advocate and I'm unable to serve the city, in the capacity the city maybe is looking, is working. So do you feel that cities in Kansas, they maybe are in the hand of the legislator and the power and nothing really they can do? Is bigger than that?
I absolutely believe that. I believe that one of our biggest problems in the state of Kansas, why property tax rates are going up and why local government is having a hard time covering expenses, is because the state of Kansas keeps overreaching and making decisions on behalf of local government. It's quite frankly disgusting. It's horrible, and it is the perfect example of what state government should not be doing.
And and I truly believe that this will go through. It's something that is really can happen. But what do you thinking? Now you are be very vocal about what is going on, even if maybe nothing will be changed. What do you thinking in terms of politics need to happen to the people? What the people can do in these situations? What the regular people they go and vote with a good faith on any candidate? Because honest, what you are put it in the table is almost they are type together. No matter if you vote Democrats, if you vote Republican, whatever you do, this is bigger than that. Is what I
This
feel
is
in.
way bigger than that, absolutely, because we have officials on both sides of the aisle that are essentially advocating for decisions like this, right? And so there's a couple of things as it specifically relates to the Chiefs deal. There's going to be a vote coming up because the state has now asked Wyandotte County if they can expand the Star Bond district. We need to
Something
tell
the
them no.
Oleta did, right? Something the Oleta did, and
Yeah,
kind of
we
like
need to tell them no because if they expand the Star Bond district, what that tells us is they currently don't have enough revenue to support the payback for the bond. So if they don't have enough revenue, that means that they didn't do a feasibility study to determine what the actual projections for the project were going to be. That is scary. That is very scary that they walked into this and made our brand new mayor make a decision with no numbers.
so. When do you thinking will be this election? In
So,
August?
well, actually, so this particular vote, and when I say vote, it's going to be a commission vote. That's probably going to happen sometime in the next month or two, I would imagine. I do know that the NFL has restrictions on how long stuff can play out before they'll shut it down. So, Wyandotte County residents, they need to advocate. They need to say, hey, vote no for the expansion of the Star Bond District because there's a chance that may shut down this deal.
So
Now,
what happened with the commissioners? You talked about that this will be in the commissioner hands. What do you, are you have this before you, and I assume before you go that public and make your opinion, do you have conversation with them? What the rest of the people give the feedback to you without saying names, in general? Did they are more for the deal, less for the deal?
great question. So, as it relates to the commissioners, and I don't believe any of them really believe this is a good deal. I believe that the hands of the local government have been tied, and I believe that they are being over leveraged by the state of Kansas. But my whole thing is this: we don't have to play politics. We always make decisions to give the big brother what the big brother wants because we think that we need the political capital. But at what point do we stop making decisions for political capital and start making decisions because it's truly what is right and what benefits the residents?
So let's pretend a scenario is here. Let's pretend that the commission vote yes and this move on. What other options the citizen has? If
Well,
they are, if they can be agree or disagree with you, because our space is for everybody.
yeah. So what you're asking, and correct me if I'm wrong, is if the commission board makes the decision to go ahead and expand the Star Bond
Yes.
District, then what?
What exactly?
Yeah. So unfortunately, as it relates to the Chiefs, there's not much that can be done. However, what can happen, and this is what I'm actually working on right now, is I'm working on putting together a tour where I can go around the entire state of Kansas to teach financial literacy, as well as teach, opportunities for people to learn how to invest and how to get out of their financial situations. Because if they can't figure out how to make it work for themselves, this deal is going to crush the local community in Wyandotte County and the residents of the state of Kansas, because it is going to slow down cash flow into the government and it's going to create all sorts of problems. Local government is going to end up raising property taxes because they're not going to receive the typical state funding that they do.
So because the chief moved to the Kansas, and
That's right.
this is your title, your big headlines. So you
Yes.
believe right now that people will be affect their economy, and how they are able to move and pay their taxes because this deal move forward.
So when you look at the math, just in the public incentive alone, it's $2.4 billion that is being given to the Chiefs. Problem number one. Problem number two is the Star bonds require an interest payback. So you take the $4 billion project and you add interest, and you've got, several billions of dollars worth of interest. that come out of the taxpayer's dime. The problem there that we see is that if money is going from the taxpayer to the bondholders or the investors, so to speak, in the bonds, then that money is not flowing into the local government coffers. Therefore, there is no opportunity for property tax relief. So if money, if they take this 2.4 billion plus interest and they give it to the chiefs, when we have people losing their homes because of rising property taxes, that money's not going to creating opportunity for local government to lower property taxes, because they're just going to need more money, because they're going to receive less funding and grants from the state, because the state has made the decision to give it all away to Clark Hunt and the Chiefs.
Now let me play the other side of the story and asking you, what about the people that believe that this is the biggest opportunity for the Kansas City, Kansas, and for the state? Like that this is the big deal to have the chief there, and they're long way, and the people travel. So you don't see any opportunity for that for the state?
The problem isn't that there's not quote unquote opportunity, because I do think it's going to drive revenue at the state level. The problem is longevity and predictability. The data says that, well, the data says two things, actually. The data says that stadium projects never perform to their projections. When you look at studies all across the nation for NFL stadiums or sports stadiums in general, the data always points to them never reaching their projections. Problem number one. Problem number two is when you look at the infrastructure impacts of tourist destinations, they far outweigh the people that come. And what I mean by that is the expenses that they create for the local economy far outweigh the revenue that is brought in by the people. Because in 25 to 30 years, when the star bonds pay off, and all that sales tax revenue goes from the investors for the star bonds back into the local government, whether you're looking at inflation or whether you're looking at the Chiefs then at that point in time making the decision to leave, it's too unpredictable. And I don't like to make decisions with too much unpredictability. I like to have some level of predictability, which is driven by data, and the data says that this is not a good deal, and it's not good for Kansans or locals in Wyandotte County.
Well, we appreciate Fran Ramirez, former chief of staff of Kansas City, Kansas, because he has his point of view, and we want to show you this point of view because we know that it's important that people listen everything. Thank you for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.